How's the air quality?
Unhealthy.
First things first, we're going to get coffee.
It says it's temporarily closed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Let's go to the other coffee shop.
So, I have been thinking it is time to start thinking about my next career move. To give you a little bit of a time scale, I started this job in July 2019, so I've been here a little over a year, and I probably still won't switch roles for the next 6 months or so, but I think I'm ready to start thinking about what I want to do next. Whether it's staying in this role, moving to a neighboring team, switching companies. I think the cool thing is once you leave college, you start to see your horizons expand a lot more. You start to see how many other possibilities out there and that you aren't really set in a career path based on what degree you got in college. It's so easy to learn and grow and adapt and transition. I've had people who switched roles after being in that role for just 4 months and realizing it's not for them. So you're really not stuck anywhere, or not as stuck as you think you may be. My package arrived! This package has been missing for a while, so I'm glad that it just finally showed up. I have a meeting in 10 minutes, so let's see if I can get it unpackaged in time, but it's supposed to be a little shelf for my desk. I'm upgrading my work from home setup. I think I'm a little preconditioned to really invest in setting up the best workspace possible, because being a manufacturing engineer, that's literally my job when I'm on the line, is to set up the best workspace for the people working on the line. So it's comfortable, it's ergonomic, it's efficient, it's poka-yoke, so that there is literally as little room for mistake as possible. All my manufacturing engineers know what I'm talking about out there, so kind of doing the same with my workspace, optimizing it for productivity and high quality work. We are upgrading away from the cardboard box, and we are handing this down to Julian. Do you want my cardboard box?
I would love your cardboard box. It's glorious. It's beautiful.
This is amazing. It just literally opens up the space so much. It's probably a small difference, but I don't know. I feel a lot more comfortable here.
I got tons of soul, I'm a true collectible. Famous, so famous, #1 desirable. I do what I want, when I want, and how I want.
The lemony arugula basil salad kit or the sesame crunch chopped salad kit?
Ooh, sesame crunch.
Okay.
Yes. Our latest favorite thing has been these salad kits from Trader Joe's. It looks like just a bag of salad, but it describes it as chopped salad kit, and it just comes with all the toppings that you would want in your sesame crunch chopped salad. Wow, thank you. Do you use all the dressing?
No.
One of the benefits of working from home is we get to be bad people and watch Breaking Bad during lunch.
Pun intended.
Ah. Another day, another coffee. We're trying a new coffee shop today. I think it's called Real Fine Coffee. We always walk past it, and yeah, today's the day. I messed up. I ordered a small. What is this?
That's 8 ounce 12.
I didn't realize I could get this small. yesterday I was thinking about my next career move, and by no means am I looking to move anytime soon. I'm just, entering that brain space and thinking about it. But whenever I'm thinking about next steps, this is when I whip out my mind map. So mind maps are this exercise I like to do where I just kind of map out what's on my mind. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I do this in my bullet journal. Today I am mapping it out to 2022. Start off by writing where I am right now. So currently, your girl's a hardware manufacturing engineer, individual contributor, working at Microsoft, living in Seattle, Washington, 23 years old, doing some social media on the side, and potentially working on a sticker store. I've been exploring a lot with illustration if you're new here. Next step, 2022, where do I see myself? There are a couple of options. I started thinking maybe I want to be in an industry where there's a little bit more creativity in my day-to-day responsibilities. So that's when I started exploring UX and UI design. So there's a potential that I explore a UX design role at Microsoft. There is a potential I move into a UX or UI design role at a different company like IDEO, Frog. I stalk their blogs on the daily. I've also been looking into getting more on the design side of engineering, so that's what CSI engineering is at Microsoft. I could also still be working in hardware manufacturing engineering in the role that I'm currently in, and I wouldn't be upset with that. I would have definitely gained more knowledge and skills in that department. I could also become a hardware engineer at another tech company, or even at a more product design related firm such as M&ML, another company that I like to stalk quite often. Now I start filling up the page, brainstorming all the steps along the way to get to these places I'm envisioning for 2022. So if I were to go the UX or UI design route, I would definitely need to explore what UX and UI entails more through free online courses. I'm actually doing one on Coursera right now. Probably need to take a paid class online to get some more official education, build a portfolio, maybe get some experience through freelancing. I can even go back to school and get a master's in UX or UI. If I were to go to the more design engineering route, or to get even more technical within my current role manufacturing, I could explore more engineering education and engineering, and move into the more product design side, learn about. There's also the slight tiny chance that I become a full-time influencer for a little bit, if this YouTube thing really kicks off. And that concludes my mind map. In the end it looks like a bowl of noodles of arrows going everywhere and a bunch of ideas, but it actually clears things up in my mind a lot more. Julian, we never have enough snacks. It's been a busy work week. We kind of let the apartment slide out of control. We got dirty dishes to the right, trash to the left, trash can behind me overpiling, so it's time to do a little bit of cleaning. I didn't vlog during the work day today because it was Discover Day at Microsoft, which Discover Day is kind of like an internal career fair. When we do it in person, each team has a little booth and you can kind of go around, get people's cards, talk about what their teams do. It's actually really cool. But now it's virtual, and we also had some speakers, people talking about how to advance in your career, what internally transferring teams looks like, which is perfect timing for what I've been thinking about. Also, I just want to set the record straight that I'm still not moving teams for quite some time. This is just thinking ahead of time. Before I make my career move, I want to make sure I've been thinking about it for a while, so that's just starting now. So I've actually set an hour per week aside on my calendar on Friday for career brainstorming so that I can spend an hour a week thinking about these kinds of things. I know one of the big questions I had was, what is the normal amount of time before you switch roles as someone who is very early in their career? And if you were really in a rush, I guess you could rephrase that question to, how soon is too soon to switch roles or a job? And what I gathered today from hearing all the panelists speak at this Discover Day event is that there's a little bit of a range, a spectrum. On one end of the spectrum, there is what is the absolute minimum I need to do to leave this job as soon as possible, to the other end of the spectrum, which is not in any rush to switch. So what is a good time frame, what is average for me to leave a good impact in my current role and then make the transition smooth into my next role. On the first end of the spectrum, this is just a reminder that there really is no minimum before you have to leave, unless you're under contract or something. But any idea that you have to spend a certain amount of time in a job before you can leave is just made up. It's made up fear of what's going to happen if I burn this bridge kind of thing. If you absolutely know that this job you're currently in is terrible, jump ship, make yourself happy. Then moving along that spectrum, there is, you want to move out of the role as soon as possible, but you also don't want to burn any bridges, and you want to make sure you give the role a good chance, would be to get at least a few performance reviews from your managers. So at Microsoft, this Discover Day event was particular to Microsoft, so it's not a one-size-fits-all. But at Microsoft, we do quarterly or trimester reviews with our managers. You'd want to accumulate at least 2 of them so that you can have something to talk about when you are interviewing for your next role. Then on the other end of the spectrum, where you're not in any rush to move, the recommendation is about 3 years. Spend a year learning, getting fully acquainted with the role, another year fully contributing, and the final year going above and beyond, making a difference, impact in that role. So in summary, you can leave your role as soon as possible, but if you want to leave it in a safe way as soon as possible, get a few performance reviews and make sure they're good from your manager. Make sure you have some measurable good performance at your role before you move. And all the way to the other end, where if you're not in any rush, then 3 years is a good time frame to, 1, learn what you're doing, contribute to your team, and make a huge impact on your team before you leave for your next experience. You know, for me, I am not too sure what's missing from my current role. It's definitely a lot different than what it was pre-COVID, and that's just completely out of my manager, my team, and my company's control. Before COVID, we were traveling once a month, going on site to the suppliers, really troubleshooting, working with the hardware hands-on, and now just a lot of virtual calls. And what I live for in mechanical and hardware engineering is that hands-on, you know, pressure time frame where you try to figure out a problem as soon as possible. And I feel like that has changed recently, or I haven't gotten it as much. I think watching this video probably seems all smooth and dandy, like I've got it all figured out, but honestly, I'm only thinking about this because there are days where I feel completely lost in what I am doing. There's definitely a huge transition from college to full-time work, and I really found my groove in college. I found what I loved doing, which was product design. CAD was my sauce. Thinking of ideas, building things, making a prototype work gave me a reward like no other, and I'm just not experiencing that as much in my current role. But on the other hand, my current role is also amazing because I'm getting to work on processes. I'm working for people all around the world, learning from my amazingly intelligent teammates who have so much knowledge about manufacturing engineering that I didn't even know existed. And I'm able to be a part of something bigger, you know, being a part of a big company, doing big things with big goals, big missions. But today, something one of the speakers said really stood out to me. He said how when you're in the right job, in the right place, everything else just falls into place and is right. Like, networking isn't hard because you're talking about things that you love to talk about. Work gives you energy and doesn't exhaust you. You feel motivated to go above and beyond and make a big impact because it's what you love doing. And 4, you're able to fully be yourself. And I can't say those things aren't true for my current role, but the hard thing is, this being my first job out of college, I really have no point of reference to compare it to. So even if it means switching roles and completely regretting it and realizing the role I have now is the best role ever, I think I'm only gonna know that if I make that mistake.
Young age, trying to make it big. Now that I'm up, they all on my dick. No contractors, never thrown a brick. Just trying to keep it cool like it's ice on my wrist. God-given talent, been feeling blessed. Kept it 100 like an Asia's math test. Ballin' all day,